So we are the Delga team. Delga is an acronym. I don't really remember what it stands for, so don't ask. So I'm Mark, this is Ben, Melissa, and Devin, and for our project we made an issue tracking system. Just typical issue tracking system. You create a support ticket, you assign it to a department, assign the tickets to users, you mark it as completed or in progress. I guess we'll walk you through the process of creating an account and demonstrate the homepage here, I guess. Some jQuery animations.
Alright, so we'll start by creating a new company.
So the ticketing system is basically any kind of company can come in and create an account. Once you've got an account created, you have a little wizard that kind of walks you through setting up your different departments in your company. It has you set up a start off, ticket reason, a ticket close reason. You create or send your first invite to your first manager.
So you invite a user to your company. When you go on through the wizard, one of the steps is to invite an employee, and that we actually have a email server that this app communicates with. It sends out an email to an email address. They get a link they can click on where they have to change their password, and then they can log in, and then that user is assigned to that company. So Devin will demonstrate that here as we go through the setup wizard.
He also just demonstrated that the passwords they have to be a certain uppercase, lowercase,
Standard.
number. And does it require a symbol too?
I believe so, yes.
So it's kind of secure. Is that something that we got from ASP?
That's ASP.NET Identity.
Yeah, so that's something that we used to help set up like the login features.
So here's our wizard. First step, you invite a new employee. And we're going to use our test email. Yes. You can add a department.
On the spam folder. More. Check your spam. Not off to a great start. We've had some hiccups with the email server. Gmail doesn't particularly like it because the certificate is self-signed for HTTPS, but we'll continue with the setup wizard here. So step 3, create a ticket reason. Every ticket needs to have a reason for existing. Like say you're an auto shop and you want to use the ticketing system, a reason for a ticket might be we don't have the part that we need. So you put in a support ticket, it can be assigned to a user, and then that user can take ownership of that ticket, which we'll demonstrate once we're in the dashboard here. And every ticket reason has a specified time that it needs to be completed by as well. So let's say a ticket has to be done within a day. If the ticket is in there for longer than a day, it shows up on the dashboard as being overdue, and then the manager is notified that, hey, something's wrong with this ticket. Let's look into it a little bit here. So when we're done with the setup wizard, we get this cute little picture that tells you you're all done. Continue to your dashboard, and welcome to Fast Track. So then once you're in your dashboard, Devin, what do you see?
In the dashboard, you have this initial page that'll show open tickets, and since we don't have any tickets right now, just there's the one ticket, and then we have a list for assigned users. There are two users that are unassigned right now.
I was curious what. Oh, that's right. volunteer their email address?
Well, here, I've got an email address, so do Delta at NW.
Any,
Yep, like Wisconsin.rr.com. And they should show up in our, okay, so you've already got some in there. Okay, and then nothing in the inbox over here. Do we need to read?
Here we have a list of all the employees that are in the company currently, as well as the department they're assigned to and their role. One of the benefits of using ASP.NET Identity is that we can assign user roles. So our application currently has 4 roles. There's unassigned, user, manager, and owner. Every role has different levels of access within the application as well, which we'll demonstrate here in a second. As I take it over to you.
Okay, let's check.
Yep, and now you can see that one ticket is overdue. It's 100%, unfortunately, because we only have one ticket, but 0% of tickets are completed, and there's our email.
All right, so there's our invite, so we follow the link, and it takes the new employee to create a password. So now this person has a login, but they are not assigned yet, so. What was the account user?
Let me log in as our RT.
Go ahead.
So, owner@delaware.com. So for the last few weeks, we've actually been using this system to track issues with our system. So if we have a development problem or a new feature request or something that we want to add, we put in a ticket, and then one of us would take ownership of the ticket and actually work on it, and then mark it as completed. So this is a sample of what a full functioning dashboard might look like. So you can see we have some overdue tickets, some open tickets, and then if we scroll down, is there any assigned to the owner right now? No, there's not. But the owners and the managers get a little section on the bottom of their dashboard where they can see unassigned users who have been invited to the company but have not yet been given a department. It's just kind of a reminder, like, hey, you got some people here who can't use the system yet because they haven't been assigned. So I'll just put us up and demonstrate.
Okay. So the owner has a different view than like a manager, so log in as a manager. So I guess we didn't show it on the first page, but the owner shows more information for under the company. We've got open tickets in my department, whereas the owner had all of the open tickets. So we'll go ahead and create a new ticket. So we're going to just create another new ticket and assign it to the development department so that you can see our other user is just a user in the development department.
I think you'll notice the options on the sidebar here. Right now, we're logged in as a manager. You can see there's a bunch of options for the company. You can go ahead and you can view the employees, the company information, that kind of stuff. And if we log out, log back in as a demo user. Ticket that was just created.
So here's my, this is it.
Open tickets.
Oh, open tickets. So this one's already been assigned, or this person's already taken the ticket. That's another big function here. Okay, so. Okay. So open tickets in my department, I'll go ahead and take that ticket. Now we've got 2 tickets in the assigned to me tickets. You can edit a ticket, come in and add a comment. And then that way somebody else can, if they need to, go in and add more information to the ticket. failures are common from this user. Want to show the productivity in the order?
Yeah, why not? So, one of the features I added, we added within the last week is the productivity. There's some very basic reporting. If you click the View Detailed Productivity button, it takes you to a page where you can view the tickets, productivity information, how long the average completion time has been per department and per user. You can see the number of tickets that each user's had, the number of tickets each department has had, the percentage that they're completed, all that good stuff. And then one other thing that I guess every ticket system should have is, let's say your company, you have your own website, you want to implement your own form on a website.
Want to try?
Sure, why not? So let's say you want to implement your own contact form on your website that talks to our system externally. You can come in here and request an API key. You can choose your CSS framework or you can get just the code, and it generates this little copy and paste stuff here. And sample contact form. Hopefully this works.
So one thing to point out, if you're going to use the API, you have to have specific departments created, right?
Yes, there are instructions in here just to make it work. You have to create a department called website, you have to create a ticket reason called external submission, and
There's our
I believe
external
there's the one I
submission.
just created. So, yeah, we have external integration with our system, and then I'm taking Joe's intro to mobile class right now as well, so we have an Android app as well. It talks to our API, so.
We used Code First.
Yes, Entity Framework Code First to create our databases. Was a little more challenging than doing database first, because you write the code and then you have to use the Package Manager console in Visual Studio to make the changes. So if you want to make a change to a table, like say you want to change it into a string, you don't open up the database designer, you just go into the model, you change the data type, and then you run a command called update database.
So it was nice that it was much easier to change the database as needed.
But it was an extra thing for everyone to learn.
Yeah, it was a little bit different for us to kind of wrap our heads around. There were a few snags with it.
Definitely a few snags. Foreign keys are tricky.
It was helpful to be able to roll the database back though, right? So if we were to make a giant mistake and realize that that's just not going to work, we could go back to that migration and just roll it back to that one.
Problems we had. Was it good we forgot anything? There's a lot of stuff in this project.
What about ASP.NET Identity? We got those tables and that was kind
Yeah,
of fun to use.
So is anyone here familiar with ASP.NET Identity? You guys looked into it at all? So ASP.NET Identity is a set of, I guess, APIs that make authorization and authentication a lot easier. ASP.NET Identity was the reason that we were able to do all this access control and stuff. So I don't know if you guys recall from ASP.NET in Brian's class, when you create a new project, there's a little checkbox that says authentication or use authentication. Brian always said click no, click yes. It's going to make your life a lot easier. It creates 5 database tables right off the bat. There's ASP.NET users, ASP.NET roles, ASP.NET user roles, ASP.NET claims, and one other ASP.NET user logins, I believe. It also enables access to the OAuth, Open Authentication APIs. So if you wanted to use a Google login, a Facebook login, it makes it super easy to integrate that as well. And then as far as the access control, there's just a data annotation that you can put on your controllers that says authorize. That'll require a user to be logged in before they can access that. that was instrumental for our project here. It looks like we've got a lot of stuff done here, but most of it was possible because of ASP.NET Identity. So.
Any questions?
So the mobile app, that's
Yeah.
Android?
Oh,
Correct.
And
show me.
so is that just a standalone version, or does that interact with the existing website?
It does interact with the existing website. It uses a JSON Web Token provider to create a token that gets passed back and forth between the app and the server. Set in here, gotta log in.
You're using your-
The,
Hindsight, I wish we would have brought a little tiny projector, so that way you could at least get the screen up on there. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool, so,
It's basically kind of the same login, right? He's just creating a ticket right now.
yep, I'm just creating a ticket. The app has drop downs too, so I put in this one into the, it has a ticket reason of design problems into the testing department, so you might have to log in as the owner to see it.
It's already there.
Is it there?
I don't think it's there.
So scroll down, open tickets, refresh the page
You
once.
could probably display your mobile app in responsive design, couldn't you? If you wanted to.
true,
Just
so,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, we
the,
could use it as a web app as well.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying if you want to display what you're doing on the mobile app, you can just jump into like Firefox or something and.
Oh,
set-
no, this is a Xamarin app. It's
Oh,
written in C
okay,
Sharp,
oh, gotcha,
so,
okay, never mind.
Log in as owner.
Oh,
Oh, this is
I-
it. There, test from the app on the bottom here. So that's one that I just posted. This view, we didn't have a whole lot of time to work on. This one looks a little funky, but,
so what was the hardest feature to implement?
what's it?
What was the hardest feature?
Definitely the token authentication for the app. I spent a good amount of time on that.
I would imagine you had to probably wrap a bunch of back-end APIs as well to.
Not as
add
much as you
tickets.
might think, but because ASP.NET and C# is moving on to .NET Core, it was pretty hard to find documentation for MVC5, which is what we used here. So if I had .NET Core, I could have downloaded a NuGet package and been done with it in 5 minutes, but. So,
So what do you think of the agile process?
Well, it
it
was.
works.
It was the second time we did the group work.
So did you use like Microsoft Team Services or
Yes, TFS.
CFS?
We use Slack to communicate. We try to keep things organized.
Slack was so
Yeah.
easy.
We liked Slack a lot. That was really nice to be able to see when somebody checked in something, so we knew that it was checked in, you got the little pop-up on Slack.
Pair programming definitely helped
Oh,
too.
yeah. I did,
First 2 weeks, I think we filled up an entire whiteboard with our ERD for getting our database set up, trying to figure out, and then we thought we had it all good to go, and
okay.
this ASP.NET Identity that I was talking about, or the Entity Framework Code First migrations, every time you make a change to the database and make what's called a migration, it sticks it into a folder so that you can roll back to that migration if you wanted to. Right now, I think we're pretty close to 60 migrations, which means 60 separate changes to our database throughout the project. So, yeah, filled up a whole whiteboard and it was still wrong.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. So.
Cool. Good work.
Nice job.